Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sanctorum of Spirits. I am Sam Green, the scribe of spirits. God, that still sounds so weird. I'm so used to saying, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Sam Nestry, the whiskey song. But obviously, things have changed around a little bit. This will be one of the first reviews I've released, actually. Not re-released, I've released. I recently, when I'm recording this, I recently had the pleasure of sitting down with Simon Brooking, the senior ambassador for Beam Suntory's Scotch Whisky portfolio, including Glengarry, Laphroaig, Bamor, Ardmore, Auchentoshan. And I want to say he was talking about Teachers as well. I think they're a sister distillery or sister whiskey. So I'm going to review this beautiful Laphroaig 25 right here. The first trouble, though, is getting this dang thing out the box. So this is actually the 2018 release, clocking in at 52% ABV. Some of the newer releases are a little bit higher in ABV, I think. And this is actually, I believe, the last time they did the 25 in ex-bourbon and Oloroso sherry. So I think it was a dual maturation. So obviously it's, 25 years. I don't know. I'm not used to doing reviews like this. Looking at the label, just physically holding the label, it's got like a nice linen paper feel, which is kind of cool. Not a lot of bottles do this. It's expensive, and obviously, a 25-year-old Scotch, especially 25-year-old Laphroaig, it can run you a bit of cash, so it's nice that they sprung for that, nice little extra bit. So, let's pop that open and give it a taste. Now, obviously, we're only pouring enough for a sample. We don't need a whole drain glass of it. So, cheers. For those of you who don't know, Laphroaig is an Islay Scotch whiskey, meaning it comes from the island of Islay in Scotland. Now, obviously, it is a single malt, and we all know what single malt means. If not, I'll have a video on this channel, or I should anyway, going into the laws of single malt Scotch whiskey and just Scotch whiskey in general. But we know that there are a few things for certain. This is a minimum of 3 years old. Obviously, it's 25. There's a possibility that the whiskey in this bottle is actually older than 25 years, but the youngest whiskey in the final, cask selection, I guess you could say, was 25 years old. Let's give this a taste. Well, first let's nose it. On the nose, there's that beautiful briny sea salt that you get with a lot of Islas, especially with Laphroaig. It's backed by notes of that, burning wood, a little bit of, rubbery burn. There's notes of caramels, and that blends in with the sea salt. I'm gonna call it a sea salt caramel. The color on this is fantastic. It's almost honey, but it's more like a straw or like a light hay, maybe. After 25 years, you'd expect it to be much richer, deeper color, but it's actually quite light. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. The color on this is actually really light and beautiful. Whew. Wow. Wow. This is beautiful and rich. It's coming in 104 proof, 52% ABV. This is a fantastic dram. Fantastic glass of whiskey here. As I let it, mellow out in my mouth a little bit after I let it kind of finish and start to dissipate and my palate and my mouth get adjusted to it, there's a definitely noticeable white pepper that's coming off. It's an evaporation of ethanol, and that's that pepperiness that I'm getting. It really got into my gums, so it's giving me a tingly, nummy feeling in my gums, which I kind of like. For 104, it actually drinks really well. Much closer to like a 92 maybe. It's not as thin as like an 80 proof, but it's definitely not, as powerful as like 120 proof or whatever. 104 I think is a nice approachable cask strength for a 25-year-old Scotch. I get a lot of that burnt rubber and, used Band-Aid on the palate, not so much on the nose. It's really sea salty. It reminds me of like going to the beach and smelling fresh seaweed. You have that ocean air. You got seaweed, you got sand. That's what it kind of reminds you and brings you back to. So guys, that's the Laphroaig 25. We'll see you next time. Cheers.